Welcome back. Namibia has taken a significant step in strengthening its financial integrity framework, with the country now poised to exit the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force after addressing key deficiencies identified in its anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing systems. According to the Financial Intelligence Center, the FIC, Namibia has remediated all strategic deficiencies and is now awaiting the outcome of an on-site assessment, a crucial milestone that reflects the country's commitment to transparency, compliance and safeguarding the financial system. Mr. Kristian Hamutenya, FIC General Manager for Supervision and Monitoring, now joins us to unpack what this means for Namibia, for business and for the broader economy. Kristian, good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Namibia, as I mentioned, has been positively identified to exit this grey list. What does this milestone mean for the country?
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. Without getting into the detailed aspects around the FATF and the various international instruments that regulate what we do and how Namibia functions as part of the global community, we are proud to announce that we've reached this milestone, having carried with us a hopeful nation that started in Feb 2024 to build on what we've already had over the last few years in enhancing the financial system as we know it. So generally, this milestone represents a reflection of the hard work from law enforcement, private sector, civil society, and then authorities such as the FIC, Bank of Namibia, NAMFISA, Anti-Corruption Commission, the Prosecutor General's Office, and so many other stakeholders who've really carried the weight in trying to get us to where we are today.
Tell us a little bit about the key reforms or actions that were taken to address these deficiencies.
Some of the primary foundations are apparent in the amendment of crucial laws such as the Financial Intelligence Act, the Prevention of Combating and Terrorist Activities Act, the POCA. So those are legal frameworks that we've needed to amend in order to lay the foundation or give us authority to undertake some of these reforms that were necessary. With the passing of those laws, obviously, we've had to consider resourcing our units, enhancing effectiveness in the detection and investigation of financial crimes. Similarly, also enhancing the supervisory authorities' ability to bring forth or ensure that their supervisory activities yield the necessary results. Similarly, for private sector, for example, we've had to sort of enhance our activities with them with the aim of ensuring that we foster a culture of effectiveness within the implemented controls to ensure that as a nation, when we say that Namibia is playing her part in contributing to safeguarding the stability of the financial system or its integrity, we are able to say that when you look at private sector, this is what they bring forth. This is what private sector is doing in terms of enhancing effectiveness. The results are there, hence this crucial milestone. When you had to look at authorities such as your law enforcement, the improvements around their effectiveness are there for all to see, notwithstanding the few milestones such as the major cases that we are seeing in courts these days. All of those are reflective of a system that is really working.
Well, the next step after this is an on-site assessment, which I believe takes place in April, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. What exactly will reviewers be looking for, Kristian?
So for us to have reached this milestone, it's on the basis that we have availed progress reports showing what we have done as a country. That includes demonstration of your typical additions in resources that we've had to make in various authorities, investigative bodies, supervisory bodies, various enhancements that private sector has had to make. For example, in private sector's ability to detect potential proceeds of crime and report such to law enforcement. All of those tangibles now need to be demonstrated during the on-site, because that's when those who are on the verge or those who are considering to take Namibia off the so-called grey list, we'll then have an opportunity to see if what we have presented in those written reports is actually as effective as they would want it to be.
Yeah, yeah. How does Namibia exiting this grey listing, directly impact, investor confidence, number one, and also correspondent banking relationships?
Great question. So Namibia is but a component in the global financial system. So in simple terms, if criminals were to have confidence that there is a specific jurisdiction or certain number of jurisdictions that do not have effective preventative and combating controls, they would almost likely want to make those jurisdictions their safe havens through which they could launder money or advance terrorist financing activities. So if the whole world works together, as we are attempting to, we sort of close the net and make it very difficult for those who are advancing money laundering and all of these other activities that undermine the integrity of our financial systems. Mm-hmm. By keeping them out, it enables us to ensure that globally, wherever you go, financial systems are up to the level we would want them in an effort to have them as foundations or platforms through which your socio-economic development activities are built. Mm-hmm. So in short, the world can advance its global objectives in terms of economic activities, for example, mm-hmm. if the very foundation, which is the financial system, doesn't have that integrity which underpins it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you mentioned at the start of our conversation how this was really a collective, effort. So I'd want you just to further expand on, what role this collaboration between government, regulators, and private sector played.
Okay, so for starters, authorities such as ourselves, the FIC has an investigative arm that works with law enforcement to ensure that what law enforcement investigates has the necessary support that can enhance its chances of being effective. For example, with your prosecutions in court. So the FIC supports investigative authorities such as your ACC and NAMPOL in order to see to it that cases brought before court are watertight. Mm-hmm. That's on the combative side. On the preventative side, the FIC and NAMFISA, for example, including the Bank of Namibia, mm-hmm. share a supervisory responsibility towards ensuring that those institutions under their supervision have the necessary mechanisms in place to safeguard the integrity of our financial system. So if a specific bank, law firm, real estate agent is not bringing its part in closing the doors for those who would want to launder money through it, those respective authorities I've alluded to collectively see to it that they minimize the risks that may emanate from those who may not be doing their part. So as a whole, when you look at the value chain from BIPA, where you can, for example, register a company or establish an entity, you want those assurances that the whole system can collectively keep out criminals or those who may want to launder money, and that is achieved by law enforcement having a sort of standing arrangement through this anti-money laundering framework at a national level, which enables law enforcement to have access to the records of companies at BIPA, which enables investigative authorities to similarly access records, for example, at NAMRA for tax purposes. And also similarly, we are able to share information from institutions that we supervise with those authorities charged with investigations and taking matters to court. So holistically, the system is designed or tailored to ensure that where, to the extent possible, chances of proceeds of crime moving through the cracks are minimized.
Well, lastly, in looking ahead, Kristian, how will the FIC, ensure that these standards are not only maintained, but strengthened beyond this process?
Yes, so good question, because quite often it can often be interpreted that controls could be implemented merely to tick the box, exit grey listing, and then you go back to business as usual.
Right.
the 8th administration is very clear about business unusual. So to answer the question, so most of these principles are anchored in our laws, and they are part of the founding mandates of institutions that I've mentioned, such as the ACC, the FIC, NAMPOL, the various supervisory bodies. It's an obligation that not only arose before we got grey-listed. We've always had that obligation. We've always implemented controls to this extent that we are implementing them. Yes, there has been challenges, hence the country being grey-listed in the first place. Yeah. But we are of the view that we'll be able to maintain this momentum we are on because we have all the support from our political leaders. Importantly for us, we have been accorded resources, political commitment, and all the other ingredients that one would have felt may have been seen as lacking at the time that we got grey-listed. So if those ingredients that we as relevant authorities and as a nation lacked have now been availed, it's almost safe to say there could be no reason for us to fail if the gaps that led us to this problem have been filled. Yes, I think in short that's how one would want to look at it. But the greater good is that we all have seen the benefits of a stable financial system. If it goes without saying that if our financial system is not stable, the state will struggle to collect taxes, for example. I mean, and so many other negative outcomes can be expected just from that very failure to collect taxes. So the greater good in what we do lies in the value that all of these relevant authorities and private sector are seeing. What is helpful is that private sector, public sector, civil society, and everybody has literally come together, held hands, and sort of contributed in ways that they could to try and get us out of the FATF's grey list.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Mr. Kristian Hamutenya, thank you so much for being here this evening. It was insightful speaking with you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Well, our conversations will continue after this very brief break. Stay with us.